Neil from Essex here to deliver a little bit of news to you today. Some information that you kind of should know is going on down with Kubota right now. Here at the first 3 weeks of January, we are going through what's called the blackout. And there's probably a little bit of information here that you should know.
Essex, a helping hand with your land.
Kubota is going through a process here at the beginning of January for the first 3 weeks that they have termed internally as the blackout. And some dealers have shared news that this is coming and maybe not shared it with all the detail that's really necessary to understand exactly what's going on. So we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about that. I've seen some kind of freaking out going on the internet, and maybe some words said about the processes that the company is going through, and the dealer body is here as well, that might not have been explained in the best way, in the best light. So first, let me tell you a little bit about computer software. When you think of Kubota, you probably just see this big orange tractor company that you think you interact with, right? These companies are actually a lot bigger and more diverse and more complex than what you might actually realize. Here in the US, there's several different divisions of the company that run manufacturing and warehousing and engineering and sales, a lot of different companies, a lot of different departments, and a lot of different software. Most of the rest of the Kubota runs on the current version of SAP, right? What a lot of big global companies run. But KTC, the part that we work with here in the US, is still far behind that current version. And it's now their time in order to make the jump onto this current platform. That's going to result in some disruption and some time in order to have all this new software rolled out. If you go through and you think of all the different functions and departments of this company, it's not just one software upgrade that has to happen. There's tie-ins to financing and warehousing and invoicing, warranty, there's service, right? This software touches so many different departments and so many different systems. It's a complex thing to go through and just swap this out. I spend most of my life in some kind of IT software development type role, and it gives me major heartburn, man, to be in that process and to actually see this whole thing go off. But that's what's happening, is all these departments are all going to be updating their software in order to move on to the systems that the rest of Kubota globally is using. There is not probably one single dealer out there that's looking at this whole process and saying it's not worth it. If you saw the software that we work with today, it's very easy to see that there's huge room for improvement. And so we're really happy to see this process happening, but also understanding at the same time there's some pain that we have to go through in order to get there. So now we're going to talk through, knowing that this is happening, what are the implications possibly for you? And we're going to discuss that in terms of parts, sales, and service. First up here is sales, and when I have to go through and explain to people here at Essex what is going to work and what is going to not work throughout this blackout period, the easiest way for me to explain it is that every situation where there's a financial transaction that has to happen between the dealerships and Kubota won't be able to happen during this time period. But that doesn't mean that a lot of the financial transactions that happen between you and us can't continue to roll along like normal. So in this 3-week period here at the beginning of January, if you would like to come in here and buy a tractor, we're happy to sell you one. We're still open for business, right? We have hundreds of pieces of Kubota equipment out here on the lot, lots full of implements. We can still go through and run credit applications. We can get you approved. We can get your machine set up through the shop out and delivered to you. But that final step of us paying Kubota for this piece of equipment and settling your contract won't happen until after this 3-week period is over. So at the best, maybe you get to kick the cans on some payments for an extra couple of weeks. Outside of that, though, there's really no reason why we can't continue to sell you equipment, and for us to work around this shutdown period for the sales department really isn't that big of a deal. Next up is our service department, right? And if there's any part of our business here that doesn't rely on computers day to day, it's our shops, right? You don't need a computer to turn a wrench. We're still gonna be able to come out, work on your equipment, do diagnostics. All of our portals and everything where all of our technical information is at will continue to work. We have all the info that we need in order to continue to keep your machines up and running. Now, parts here is one place that we could run into a problem. There's going to be a period of time here where we're not going to be able to get parts out of Kubota's warehouses, but that doesn't cause me great heartburn knowing how much stuff sits on our shelves already. And then we add into the fact that Kubota has been coming out with some ways for us to get even more parts here with some advantageous stocking terms and stuff to get as many of those parts pushed out from their warehouses and out to the dealers as possible. So we see things like these extra big orange skids here coming out and going onto our shelves. Normally when you order parts, 19 out of 20 parts will be sitting here on our shelves for you, ready to go immediately and in our stock. But that 1 out of 20 parts that we need to go to Kubota to get, we're not going to be able to get through this time period. So if you have a repair that's, say, going on your farm, you're working on a machine in your garage, now would be the time to jump into the parts catalogs on Messick's.com or call one of our parts technicians so that we can make sure to get those items out to you right away so that you don't get caught between this 3-week backlog. But if I had a machine torn apart in my garage right now, I would want to know, and that's why we're talking about this today. So that's a little bit about what's going on around here. It has frustrated me a little bit seeing some of the messaging on this put out in a way that just says the blackout is coming, right? And we cause concern without looking at all the ways that we're able to back you up during this short period of time. And I don't believe you're going to find a dealer out there who says this isn't worth it, right? A little bit of disruption in our business or creativity that we have to do in order to help you over a problem is absolutely well worth it for us to be on more modern computer systems that serve us better for the long term than having this little blip here that happens in our business. So if we can help you now ahead of this period, or we can help you once the period has already begun, give us a call here at Messick's. We're available at 800-222-3373 or look us up at Messick's.com. If you're watching videos on YouTube here, you probably have seen Messick's.com before, right? So manufacturer parts diagrams, photos of parts, many resources is what we can possibly give you.